Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to have a little chat about the last couple of Rumour Daemon Engine pictures. That does not get any easier to say, it gets harder every single time somehow. And I guess what we can reasonably expect at this point from this, it turns out, pretty big Chaos release. I will say straight off the bat, I'm getting continually surprised by how big this release was. I really didn't think it would be quite of this scope. We'd heard rumours about Abaddon, we'd heard rumours about new Obliterators / Mutilators, and of course we had the Chaos Space Marines out of Blackstone Fortress. They were things that pointed to a pretty decent release, especially for a non-Codex event. I mean, as far as we know, Chaos isn't getting another Codex, Chaos Space Marines are not getting another one of those, so to have a drop this big outside of that cycle is kind of surprising. I was not that surprised to see Abaddon because the Vigilus storyline is a great place to get a new model for him out, especially with the way Harkon Worldclaimer was introduced and the countdown. It made sense for the War Master to come back that way. And of course, Calgar got the Primaris treatment, ascended to Primanius Calgar, which again made sense that Abaddon would actually get something to bring him up to par, I think is probably the nicest way of putting it. He's kind of languished in his armless old state for quite a while at this point. But the thing is, I was expecting, or at least I wasn't surprised about new Chaos Space Marines, and I was a little bit surprised, but not overly shocked about new Obliterators. After all, those are rumours that we'd heard about. The sheer size of this, though, is actually genuinely surprising me every time we have a new image, because I had it down as being just a small release to go along with Vigilus, just to move the storyline ahead a bit. And that's not even counting all the the Vanguard Primaris stuff as well. I mean, this next step in the Vigilus campaign is going to be pretty big for model releases, and not just for Chaos. There is an actual bunch of Primaris stuff coming out as well, the second wave that we've heard about for so long. Now, the last couple of Rumour Daemon Engine pictures we've seen seem to pretty much confirm new Chaos Terminators, so that is a unit that is getting a refresh. They're going to be brought, hopefully, up to scratch with the rest of this stuff. I would kind of expect them to be a bit more in line with the new Obliterators, and a bit less kind of, how do I put this nicely, a bit less normal Terminators with spikes on, which seems to be the way that the line is going. I mean, when we actually look at what's been shown off, when we look at the example of the Blackstone Fortress stuff, it's less Space Marine stuff with spikes and more well designed, more fluid, more interesting as a whole, I think it's probably fair to say. But it means that now we have a new Abaddon the Despoiler model, which obviously was very needed. We've got new Chaos Space Marines. Along with that, it's very sensible to assume that we're getting new Havocs as well. After all, the kits are pretty much the same. There's just heavy weapons options galore in one of them, and you wouldn't update the Chaos Space Marines and then have a unit that uses those Chaos Space Marines not get updated. That would look really weird. They would look out of place. It's fair to assume that Havocs will be coming along as well. We've got new Possessed, which pretty much confirmed, the big crab claw. We've got that weird foot Rumour Daemon Engine picture, which could just be a Possessed moving forward. Or there was that artwork in the Blood Angels Codex that seemed to have Marines with bat wings coming out of their backpacks, so it's possible that that's something that's happening, maybe a winged version of Possessed. I will say you guys have sold me on the idea that actually new Raptors is still unlikely. That kind of chain glaive that let's be honest, does look kind of like a Raptor weapon, could very well belong to an Abaddon bodyguard. I think it's fair to say that actually that bodyguard could maybe be a multi-kit thing. If we've got new Terminators, if Abaddon is... I think I've just pronounced his name 3 different ways. It's fine, you get used to it. If he's getting a new model, and if we have new Terminators as well, if he has his own bodyguard, like the Honor Guard that Calgar has, I wouldn't be surprised if the Terminator kit could make something like that, or if there was some sort of Chaos Lord included in that with some sort of bodyguard thing. Games Workshop are very much moving away from single-purpose kits, especially when it comes to infantry, and I would be surprised if they bucked the trend. I mean, Obliterators will most likely make Mutilators as well. New Possessed, having the option to have some sort of winged variant, that would work for the same kit. Terminators and possibly some variant that uses that blade that we saw that could be used as a bodyguard or some sort of special character or something like that. That would make sense to me. That's a little bit of a stretch, I have to admit, but I do think actually you guys are right. The new Raptor / Warp Talons is maybe not really on the agenda, so to speak. We've got the new tank, the Venom Crawler, I think it's called. I can't remember. Which obviously can have multiple weapon options, and there's a Rumour Daemon Engine picture of the Bale Flamer on the top. I mean, this is actually a really sizable release. And I have to admit, there's certain units now that, although we haven't seen anything for them, we've got that backpack that we don't know anything about. I mean, it's just a backpack. Who knows what it could possibly be connected to. There are other units that I'm now genuinely wondering whether we'll see versions of, just to bring the whole line together. I mean, of the stuff that we've got pretty much confirmed or can make good guesses of, you know, Terminators, Obliterators, Chaos Space Marines, Havocs, Possessed, New Abaddon, there are units outside of that, like Chaos Bikers, for instance, that if they weren't kind of brought in line, would look really weird and out of place. Now, of course, there's no confirmation of Chaos Bikes. We've not seen anything to suggest that we're going to get Chaos Bikes, but the size of this release is so much bigger than I thought it was, and it's so much more comprehensive than I thought it was going to be, that I'm now looking at other parts of the Chaos range and kind of going, I can see them doing something with that. I would be surprised in a way if they did, but I'm now leaning more towards thinking perhaps they should, just to keep everything in line. There's such a coherency of design across all the stuff that we've seen, all of these Daemon Engine pictures, that there are units that are available that it would look kind of weird if they weren't changed, Chaos Bikes being one of them. I have to admit, I am excited about this range, but I cannot help but be surprised as to just how big a refresh this is. It's so above and beyond what I was expecting, in a good way, obviously. But every time I see something new and every time there's a new picture released, a little part of me is like, okay, that's awesome. What else are they going to do? Because it looks like they're not done. It keeps looking like they're not done. Every time I think that probably we're going to have the last picture and then we're going to see what's actually in the box, or we're going to see some sort of announcement, there's another picture that seems to point to a different unit, and it just keeps going. It's going to be a massive release. New Chaos Terminators, I really like that because, again, it's just bringing them away from Marines with stuff stuck on them and building it up into something more interesting, something more visually appealing, something more up to date. I mean, you can't have a brand new range of Space Marine stuff in the form of Primaris and then still have the Chaos stuff just look like tactical Marines with spiky bits. It looks weird, it looks out of place. All this new stuff actually looks like it should be fighting the Primaris stuff in the best possible way. So yeah, new Chaos Terminators seem to be pretty much confirmed from this, and it's left me wondering what else we're going to see refreshed, whether we're going to see new units, whether we're going to see interesting variations of Possessed, whether we're going to see things like Chaos Bikers. It's going to be a massive release, and I just wasn't expecting it to be that. That wasn't quite as short as I thought it was going to be, was it? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to let me know what you think of the new Chaos Terminator stuff that we've seen so far, the spiky bits, the massive power fist, what you'd like to see from that kit, whether you think it could be a multi-kit, you know what I mean, make more than just Terminators, that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, feel free to click Patreon, subscribe video, all that stuff. Yeah, click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.